Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Matt, and today I want to talk about the power of speed in language learning. And really this applies, I think, to audio content, or at least that's what I'm referring to when I refer to speed. And when you're listening in a foreign language, I think that a really cool thing that you can do is to adjust this speed when you are listening to audio content, right? This might seem very obvious, but there's a lot of advantages of doing this. It's kind of this really quick tip that I've been using that I think is very effective and can be very helpful to you. So in a lot of kind of audio playback devices or I guess apps, there's the ability to change the speed of the video or audio content that you're listening to. So YouTube, for example, has the ability to speed up the audio content or slow it down. You'll see it possibly in like Netflix shows. You can also use it in Audible, for example. And I think there's also some dedicated language learning apps that also have that slow back feature and speed up feature. And obviously, one of the biggest kind of advantages is if you're really struggling with processing audio content, it's just a little bit too quickly for you, slow down the audio content and really try to just improve your listening, but at a slower pace, maybe 0.75. Generally, that's, I think, a pretty good speed to go on, or 0.5, and just try to process the audio content a little bit slower, right? This is probably the thing that people have thought to do in the past. And one thing that you'll notice when you slow down audio content sometimes is that you actually get to hear the words and you start to realize that you actually know a lot of the words that are being said. You're just not used to processing the audio content very quickly. So, and it's obviously going to depend on your skill level, but in a lot of cases, when you slow it down, you'll start to kind of hear the words a little bit better. And you kind of, in a lot of cases, will get to this realization that, oh, wow, I actually know a lot of these words. I actually know the conjugations here, and that's very like a very kind of comforting feeling that, wow, okay, I just need to get better at listening. It's just I know these words, and that could be very a very positive experience for you. But also, even if you're still struggling in that regard, I think that slowing down the speeds can be helpful just to kind of improve your listening, especially if you're struggling kind of at a normal speed. The other thing that I think some people don't think about doing is actually to speed up the audio content. So rather than just having a 1x speed, ramp it up to 1.5 or 1.25. Going to 2x I think is a little bit challenging, but go to 1.5, 1.25, and the audio content is going so quickly that there really is kind of no time to translate as you go, right? It's just kind of having to process it. It's a little bit of a challenge, and your listening your comprehension will probably suffer a little bit, but it can be kind of this nice, interesting challenge to just get better at processing that information quicker, to avoid this kind of translating things in your head. But the other big advantage of doing that is that when you kind of start listening to audio content at 1.5x speed, switch it back to 1x speed. And so then the audio content feels a lot slower. And in some cases, I found that when I've sped up the audio content and then I go back on a second listen or something like that to 1x speed, I feel like I'm better at listening. It feels like it's a little bit easier to process that language learning content, that audio content. So, don't just think to slow down the language learning content. Try mixing it up, speeding it up a little bit, trying to practice and challenge yourself to process that information very quickly, and then you can swing it back down to 1x speed or go to 0.5x speed. So when you're listening to audio content, don't be afraid to slow down the speed or to speed it up to give yourself a challenge, because I think that when you adjust the speeds, you're kind of using kind of that tool, that resource to get better at listening, whether that's just to try to hear the sounds, hear the words a little bit better, or to just get better at processing that information that's coming at you very quickly. So that's what I had to say. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.